and welcome back to another episode of the Employee to Boss podcast. I am your host, Hayleigh Hayhurst, the owner of Espresso Podcast Production, a full-service podcast agency specializing in editing, marketing, and strategy. So today I have a solo episode for you, and this is actually repurposed from my Instagram Live a couple weeks ago. So whenever you want to catch one of my trainings live, come over on Instagram. I'll post about it. I go live about once a week with a different podcast training topic. My Instagram is Espresso Podcast Production. And then afterwards, I always post these as either podcast episodes and YouTube videos and cut it into a couple different places where it's more consumable. I just wanted to preface that, so when you're listening to this, if there's things I say that you're like, who is she talking to? I am talking to the people who showed up live for this training, but I edited it so it makes it a lot easier for you to listen afterwards. So today's topic is all about why you need a video podcast. So if you are thinking about starting a podcast, I highly encourage you to go the video route versus the audio only route. I also encourage you, if you already have a podcast, to start recording video. Even if you don't publish the entire video, you can cut it down into clips to promote it. Makes it a lot easier. People are very visual, and so they want to see your face, your guest, the things that you do, the way that you move, all of these things. And so I get into it during this live, but just wanted to come and give you a little bit of a teaser here. And so I have seen a difference in my podcast from when I used to only do audio to audio and video. I've seen my download numbers basically explode, right? I'm getting more downloads now than ever just because it's posted on a new platform and I can leverage it in different ways, very strategic ways. And so the strategy piece is so important to me when I work with my clients. And that is what I want your results to look like too. I want you to get more listeners. I want you to grow your podcast, and I want you to do it strategically. So if you would like to chat about your podcast or have any questions, come over to Instagram, Espresso Podcast Production, and send me a message. I am more than happy to help you in any way that I can, and we can even discuss ways to work together to grow your show. You can also check out my website, espressopodcastproduction.com, to look at the offers that I have and just learn a little bit more about me and my business. So let's get right into this live training of why you need a video podcast. Hello, I am excited to be here today to do espresso training. I used to do these all the time if you've been following along. But I'm really dedicated to starting them again and making sure that, I'm educating on podcasting as much as I can and really answering all the questions that my audience has. Today's topic is why you need to convert your podcast to video or why you need to add video to your podcast. This is a really missed opportunity that I see a lot of people do. They only do audio podcasts or, they post some videos or they record. This is a big one. They record on video, but they don't necessarily use that and post it, which honestly, to be fully transparent, is what I used to do, right? I would record on Zoom and then I would eventually cut it down into clips, but I would never post the entire thing, which is a huge, huge missed opportunity that I want you to avoid. So the number one reason that I want you to start recording your podcast with video is simply because it gets more reach. Now, when you're recording your episodes, you can post it to all the podcast platforms, right? Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all of these things. But when you have your video, you can also post it to YouTube. So YouTube has great SEO, right? And so all of my clients, I talk to them about this, like how we can get more ears and eyes on your podcast just through like simple ways that you title your episode, or simple ways you do this and that, show notes, all of these things, hashtags. Definitely the keywords are very important. And so that is, a big part of YouTube and just the whole strategy. So rather than just recording video and putting it out to the platforms, you get a whole nother place where people can come and listen to you. So while I'm driving downloads from, all the podcast platforms, I'm also adding to that and driving views on YouTube. So there's like literally no hurt in it, right? It only can like benefit you and your guests as well. And so it's very normal for people to record on Riverside or Zoom or any of the podcasting, Zencaster, things like that, where you are used to being on video, right? We're used to having video calls. We're used to really like showing up and getting ready and all of these things. And so it's not going to be that much of an ask for your guests. All you have to do is like get ready and be on camera. And really that will grow your reach a lot. So if you're not already doing that, that's number one. Just start recording on video. I hear a lot of people say things like, oh, I am like so nervous to record on video because I'm just like not comfortable on video. That is okay. We can work with that. We can make this work. The more you show up on camera, the more comfortable you'll be. When I started recording solo episodes, I was like so nervous. Just like truthfully, I was so nervous. I would just like sit here and stare at my window while I was talking, or like avoid looking at myself. And now it's so much easier to just show up authentically on camera, because like not only will I be able to edit it after, people will feel more, connected to my brand because they know what I look like when I talk and all of these things. We really want like that high level of like personal touch on all of the things that we do, right? We want everything to be branded. We want everything to look great. And we also want it to all match what we're trying to achieve. And so a big part of that is just showing up as yourself, authentically, all of these things. So start recording video. The next part is you just have more content, right? Going from just posting on YouTube or on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you're now posting on, two big places, video, audio. But then what I like to do for my clients and myself is break it down into clips. So maybe like each episode, whether it's 15 minutes to an hour, you can probably find, depending on how long it is, at least 3 to 5 or more good clips that will just like really make it so you can use those, break them down, and then post them to many different platforms. So if you have 5 clips, people will see that and they will be very excited to go and listen to your episode, or they'll just like know more about the episode, right? They'll be like, oh, cool. She has this new episode out. I saw this clip from it and I'm like dying to go learn more. They're just like little teasers and it's just great. And so when you're recording video, that resonates with the audience much more than just like, you can still do audio only audiograms, but video is definitely like the next wave of podcasting. And early adopters of any new type of situation, like early podcasters, obviously saw great results. And now early video podcasters are seeing great results too. I mean, look on Spotify. If you look at the top podcasts, you can literally watch the video right on Spotify. You just turn your phone sideways and the video is there. And that just speaks volume to that this is the future of podcasting. Now, the next thing that I wanted to talk about is just the ability to grow it. So when you're breaking those into clips, if you have 3 to 5 clips per episode, you can post these on Instagram Reels, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. there's so many different places that you will be able to post this to grow it. So when I work with clients, usually, when I'm editing their podcast, I include one graphic on what I do. And then from there, I have like add-ons that I highly encourage where I will create like 5 graphics. And so the more graphics you have, this could be audiograms, this could be static posts. There's different options. And that is really all it takes to grow the podcast. Just like posting more about it, making it, bigger, and just making sure that what you're posting does like direct back to the episode. So I have lots of strategy on that we can obviously get more into at another time. And then the last piece that I want to share, that like this is really a big part for any business owner who wants to start a podcast or grow their podcast. Just showing your face on video connects way more with your audience, right? And so and I talk about this all the time, if you are a podcaster and you're just really not showing your face, but you have people listening, of course they're going to want to learn more about you, right? They're going to be like, who is this mysterious voice who has such good information to share? They want to like come over to your social media and just learn more about you. This is true for every podcast I've ever helped. So when you're able to just like record on video, people feel more connected to you, especially if you're a coach or service provider or any of these things. You want your audience to trust you, and a really great way for them to trust you is for them to see you and see and hear what you're talking about. So there is just so much value in video podcasts, and I hope I convinced a few of you to start transitioning from audio only to video. It will make a big difference. And so if you have questions about this, connect with me on Instagram here. Just message me, or you can also find my website and contact me through that. But I love chatting about all things podcasting. And if you are one of the audio only podcasters, let's chat and I can give you some tips on transitioning to video, like what to tell your guests to make sure that they're prepared, what to, have as your background. All of these things are very important because it's a whole new visual side of things. So like before, you probably didn't have to get ready to record podcasts. All you had to do was like research and things like that. But now you have to still do that research and then like look presentable and editing and all of these things. And so while it is like, can be a lot at first to transition, it is well worth it. And once you get the systems in place that I teach, and once you really get an understanding of like, it's not as hard as you think it is, you will see growth, and it is so, so exciting. So again, if you have any questions, I am more than happy to help you, and thank you so much for coming to this espresso training. Thank you for listening to the Employee to Boss podcast. If you made it to the end of this episode, I hope that you implement the actionable steps from this week's experts so you can get started with your business today. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the Employee to Boss podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. It helps more than you could ever imagine. Remember, a little progress each day leads to big results. We come out with a new episode every Tuesday. To access our show notes, transcripts, and courses, please check out espressopodcastproduction.com.